On this week's episode of Newsbreak, reporter Halle Parker investigates the lack of sexual assault resources at Farmville Centra's Southside Community Hospital.
And Alaina Jacques speaks with the head of a new campus organization. This and more coming up. Welcome back to another episode of Newsbreak for the week of February 12th. I'm Nicole Rosario.
And I'm Alaina Jacques.
Since its purchase of Southside Community Hospital, Centra moved their sexual assault nursing program to Lynchburg, leaving no easily accessible services for the Farmville community. Despite a push for sane nurses at Southside Community Hospital in previous years, the issue has yet to be resolved. Halle Parker has more on the issue.
As the spotlight continues to shine on the prevalence of sexual assault and misconduct, the local sexual assault response team is working to increase the amount of resources available to victims in the 7-county, 2-college town area. When Centra purchased the Southside Community Hospital, the healthcare giant moved its sexual assault nurse program to the Lynchburg General Hospital's Trauma Center. However, the move now requires victims to travel nearly an hour to undergo the already invasive and traumatic process of evidence collection in case they choose to pursue criminal charges.
This is the hospital for all of the surrounding counties. This is the one that people go to when anything bad has happened to them. And to have such a big gap in service, I think has a really negative effect on the community.
Liz Chassie, a convener of the local SART, is the program director for Madeline's House, a nonprofit dedicated to serving sexual assault victims. Last year, they served 71 clients, 10 more than 2016. After a failed community and student push for a SANE in 2015, the local SART is now encouraging Centra to hire a general forensic nurse at Southside or have one travel between hospitals.
I feel like that might be someone who would be a little bit more suited for our area, and we might be able to convince people to hire a forensic nurse more readily than we could convince them to hire a SANE.
However, far fewer victims report to police or check into Southside's ER. By December of 2017, the Farmville Police Department had received 5 reports of criminal sex offenses. At Centra, spokeswoman Diane Ludwig said 21 sexual assault victims were treated at Southside in 2016, compared to the 277 at Lynchburg. To advocate for their case, Prince Edward County Commonwealth's attorney Megan Clarke said SART will rely on data.
We're going to have to pull our numbers and go through and provide the backing for how many numbers of assaults do we have, whether it's sexual in nature or domestic in nature or what have you.
In a statement, Ludwig said, "While we strongly encourage the community to suggest ways that we might improve any aspect of the care we provide, the community also rightfully entrusts Centra to be guided strictly by what is right for the patient, not by a reflex response to any group that generates media attention." Reporting from the heart of Virginia, I'm Halle Parker.
Longwood University's Counseling and Psychological Services, or CAPS, has seen a 57% increase in student utilization of services over the past 5 years, according to the director of CAPS, Dr. Maureen Wells-McKay. CAPS offers mental health programs and services to Longwood students. Last year alone, there was a 9% increase with 703 clients served for a total of 2,300 sessions. Wells-McKay also stated the national average has risen by 35%, and despite the demand, the increased use of CAPS has positive implications. According to Wells-McKay, faculty, staff, and students have noticed CAPS is under-resourced and said the Student Government Association reached out because they sensed there was an increased need. Currently, SGA is drafting a resolution that requires all course syllabi to include information about mental health resources. CAPS is currently searching for another mental health professional to add to their staff.
Promise 16, a suicide awareness and mental health organization on campus, was recently founded by a student whose goal is to give people struggling with these issues not only a voice, but someone to confide in. Rotunda Studios reporter Alaina Jacques has more on the story.
Haley Pinnell, student here at Longwood University, founded Promise 16, an organization that ensures students have a safe place to discuss issues of mental health and find support within their peers. As a psychology major, she found the importance in providing a group that makes students feel accepted.
So I wanted to start a group where you can just go and talk about whatever's going on, and you can be anonymous if you need to, and we can talk about strategies to deal with stress or different things that go on that everybody might be going through, and also raise awareness for suicide, because in the nation it's the 3rd leading killer of our age group, but in Virginia it's the 2nd, and in college students it's the 2nd. So it's really important that we talk about it, raise awareness for it, since it's something that is so impactful and it's so like detrimental to like the group and the family of the person.
Pannell says she wanted to create this organization on campus because she noticed that people who needed someone to talk to weren't going to get the help they needed, whether through CAPS, the Counseling and Psychological Services, or elsewhere. The name Promise 16 stemmed from a video project she came up with where everyone featured in the video performed 16 acts of kindness for others.
The 16 part is from the statistic that every 16.2 minutes someone commits suicide in the United States. So I felt like you should promise, like for that 16 minutes, like you just want to make sure you do something that lets people know that like someone cares about them. Promise 16 meets once a week, discussing topics regarding mental health, learning stories from suicide survivors, and talking about personal matters they all relate to. I think it's important because everyone needs to know that they have a support system. Not everyone has like a team or a sorority or fraternity or a big group of people that they're friends with. Some people are like really introverted, so they might only have like 1 or 2 people, and if you have a problem with both of those people, you might not know who to go to about that. So I kind of wanted to create a situation where everyone would have a lot of different resources that they could reach out for. Promise 16 meets next week, February 13th at 7 p.m. in Bedford 111. For Rotunda Studios, I'm Alaina Jacques. And now to give you a recap on this week's sports is TJ Wengert.
Thanks, Alaina. We're going to recap the men's and women's home basketball games from last week. Both teams were matched up with the top team in the conference respectively. The action started on Tuesday night with the women hosting the High Point Panthers. The Lancers fell by the score of 75-39, but leading the way for the Panthers was one of the best players in the Big South, Emma Brockrath, who had 12 points to go along with her 5 steals and 5 rebounds. One night later, the men hosted the Bulldogs of UNC Asheville. And at one point in the game, Longwood was up by as many as 14. But then Maceo Teague and Raquan Miller got hot from beyond the three-point line. Teague hit 3 of his 4 three-point shots on 3 consecutive possessions, and Miller chipped in 4 three-point shots of his own. All en route to the Bulldogs, topping the Lancers 78-73. Men's basketball will be back in Willett Hall to face the Buccaneers of Charleston Southern University on Thursday, February 15th, while the women's team will host the Fighting Camels of Campbell University on Saturday, February 17th. Well, my name's TJ Wengert. Back to you guys.
Thank you, TJ. Well, that's all we have for you this week. Remember to catch up on all the latest news, check out our website at therotundaonline.com, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And don't forget to pick up our next print edition around campus today, February 12th. Rotunda Studios Newsbreak will be back next week. Thanks for watching.